if it is. There you go. All right.
So Brad, what did you see from your team in the first game?
Well, I think, we had jitters. We didn't execute particularly well. We're back watching the film. We were, very average in our execution. I thought our energy was good. Just weren't always in the right spots. Defensively, I thought we really had some nice stretches. But Dickinson, I thought they made some tough shots and whatnot. But we show we have some firepower. I think as we move forward, we'll get better and tighter with how we execute our stuff. We're going to need to playing against Division I teams. So overall, I'm real pleased with the team, though.
Have you seen the difference in how the referees are calling?
Yeah, I've watched some tape of other games already, and even in our actions, when we've had officials come and work scrimmages and whatnot, you're definitely seeing a change. I think it's just putting a lot of pressure on everyone, the players, the officials, everyone to adjust and figure out what is and what isn't a foul. And, I don't know if it's next to impossible to be consistent on. I think the officials' jobs got that much tougher, frankly, with the change and the adjustment. As I watch them try to apply this, and the players are trying to make the necessary adjustments. And even as a coach, you're evaluating what works, what doesn't work, and how are you going to have to change maybe philosophy and how you're doing some things based on the potential for foul calls. If they stay consistent with this, so it's definitely not just something they put down on paper. You're seeing it being applied.
What do you think the lasting impact of these changes are going to be?
I think we're going to find out. Will they sustain it? How consistent can they be with it? Are we going to be in situations where it's just a march to the free throw line? For game in and game out. I thought we had 3 quality guys at our game on Sunday, but the consistency of even the calls in the post and out front was okay. But I just think there's a lot of pressure on those guys to be consistent. That's a hard job to have now. It's always been a hard job, but I think it got a little tougher with the adjustments.
After this first game, what was the biggest thing you saw that you need to work on this week at practice?
Well, just if you could simulate and put people in the seats and turn the lights on and get some popcorn popping, that would be the number one thing. It definitely changes mindsets. It changes approaches. We looked out of character in some spots, not as glaring maybe to the fan, but certainly to us in terms of what we've been coaching and trying to execute practices for the last 4 or 5 weeks. So, the biggest thing is just I feel like you can make your biggest gains this time of year, especially with time between games. Just see us get tighter in our execution and more consistent with it. One of our challenges has been we've had injuries, and so when you have those guys aren't getting the reps they need to get real thorough and consistent and efficient in execution. So we just have to keep working through those things. But that's the number one priority, is that we just get tighter with what we're doing on both ends of the floor.
How impressed were you with your freshman home?
I'd say impressed, but it wasn't a surprise. I mean, it's something we see in practice, almost every day. He's got the maturity of an upperclassman and just is very consistent with what he brings every day with his work ethic, his coachability, his determination to be a player, and the time he puts in away from practice. What you get out of that is what we saw on Sunday. He's not going to be a secret for very long, obviously. Fullerton will be prepared for him. You'll have to work that much harder. Our team will have to work that much harder to get him involved. But what we've seen. I mean, obviously you're impressed with a freshman to come out and play with that kind of poise and confidence in his first game. But again, it's kind of just been well watched, day in, day out.
You talked a lot on Saturday about fluidity of the lineup and, not having set pieces in certain areas. Does that, going into the season, is that a benefit or a deterrent, where not everybody knows kind of what their role is?
Well, I think in a team concept, it's a real benefit to have a lot of interchangeable parts and have different options. You know, I think those things work themselves out as the season goes on. You know, and it really does come down to minutes. If you look at the game on Sunday, I think we had 10 guys all between 17 and 20 minutes. You know, I doubt that formula is going to stay in place. You start paring it down as you go, and over the course of a 30-plus game season, there's going to be changes and adjustments to that. I think everybody, regardless of program or situation, is going through some of that right now. Is just evaluating personnel and how it fits together. And you know, I wholly expect our lineup to change from time to time. That's with our starters. What I don't expect to change is the effort and focus the guys have, regardless of their situation, whether they're coming off the bench or starting. Because it's all impactful. It all has some sort of gauge on the outcome and impact on the outcome, rather. And you know, I think these guys have bought into that. They need to if we're going to have a successful season. We've got, as I've said before, I think we've got anywhere from maybe 8 to 9, 10 guys that can start.
Bottom line, is this team better than last year?
You know, potentially, yeah. I think it is. I mean, we've got we've got parts that make it better. A lot of it just comes down to consistency of this group, and then starting with our upperclassmen, our seniors, right down to the young guys. You know, the focus they bring night in and night out, and how we deal with adversity. You really don't know what you have as a team until you're faced with some adversity, and whether it's being behind in a game or shots not dropping or frustrated with fouls or playing minutes or whatever it might be, that defines who you are as a team. And you know, we'll see how we handle some of the challenges we're going to face here, particularly with the difficult schedule coming up.